Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dr. N.V. Raman Rao, and thank you for accepting our invitation and coming over here for sharing your valuable experiences and knowledge with the construction professionals who have logged in. So, that this would be another very informative webinar that we would be having today, because we have almost completed 43 webinars during this lockdown, and the subjects and the topics have been on various aspects of civil engineering, all those topics and challenges which the civil engineer faces at site. So that is the actual this thing that we had planned for. So the thing is that this kind of interaction and presentation would definitely go a long way in improving the knowledge of the civil engineers, and also to brush up the fundamentals. That is very important in today's era, so that we get new ideas to overcome the challenges that the construction professionals are facing at sites. So today, Dr. N.V. Ramana Rao would be talking to us about the structural failures due to geotechnical problems. So let me just briefly introduce him for the benefit of all the professionals who have logged in. He is Director and Professor of Civil Engineering at National Institute of Technology, Warangal. And that is just a minute. There is a logging problem.
Sir, I've made you the presenter again.
There is some problem. Just a minute.
I don't think you require any introduction because already you have circulated the brochure. So I think
Not a problem, sir. Yeah. Now I think it's all right. Yeah. Now it's okay. Sorry for the technical glitches that has happened. So Dr. N.V. Raman Rao is at present Director and Professor of Civil Engineering at NIT Warangal. He did his B in Civil Engineering from Osmania University, MTech from IIT Delhi, PhD from United Kingdom, and postdoctorate from UK in Civil and Structural Engineering from University of Wales in UK. So he has had several administrative posts. He has held as Registrar JNT University Hyderabad, as Principal JNTUH College of Engineering Hyderabad, as Director Bureau of Industrial Consultancy Services and Entrepreneurial Development at JNT University in Hyderabad. He has edited 3 books and published 157 papers in international journals and international conferences, national journals and national conferences. He has organized 12 conference workshops, and he has delivered 15 invited lectures. He has guided more than 60 MTechs, 12 PhDs, and guided several PhDs during his this thing. So with those brief introduction, let me once again welcome Dr. Raman Rao. And before we go on to the presentation, let me also tell you that tomorrow again we have a presentation at 11 a.m. Again on case studies of structural failures, which would be of interest, because we always talk about success stories, but let us also learn from failure stories. So tomorrow's webinar is at 11 a.m. So this webinar on geotechnical problems is further to all the webinars that we are organized. The professionals would remember that we also had conducted a virtual conference, RAGI 2020, that is Recent Advances in Geotechnical Engineering, in which we had several speakers, both from consultancy as well as academics, talking about the case studies, especially the case studies on geotechnical investigation, the problems that we face if we do not evaluate the soil conditions, as well as if we do not design the right type of foundation. So there were presentation on pile raft foundation, isolated footings, combined footings, and then we also heard yesterday the speaker who talked about the Petronas Tower. The foremost thing that the designers were interested is in the selection of the site. and where the soil was behaving erratically, and they also had to shift site slightly here and there so that a lot of economy could be achieved. So that is the importance of geotechnical investigation, and it is very important that we look at that. So this is further to those webinars, and we at Ramco Cements have been organizing these webinars so that the construction professionals get a very good idea about the challenges that they face, because it is not that we just manufacture cement, but we want our customers to make good quality concrete and at the same time be a successful civil engineer, so that we have this larger objective of going forward. So that is the basic idea of having all this thing. Earlier what we used to do is that we used to have those engineers meets, contractors meet at various places, but due to the limitation that is being imposed now, we thought that this is the best option. And because of this, we have got the benefit of many speakers who have come here and who are sharing their experiences. So one big advantage is that there is no limit on geographical boundaries. A person sitting in Kerala, in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana, in West Bengal, in Odisha can listen to this, and we wish that all the professionals would get a good idea, and we would like to have your feedbacks on these webinars that we are conducting, and because based on your feedback we can look at various subjects as well as experts. So with those few words, let me welcome Dr. N.V. Ramana Rao, Director, NIT Warangal, to continue with his presentation. Over to you, sir, and welcome to this meeting. Thank you so much for having accepted our invitation.
I've just unmuted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At the outset, let me thank Ramco Cement and Anil Kumar Pillai, Mr. Suraj and Mr. Ravi for inviting me to deliver a talk, a technical talk. So I choose this problem. Basically, I am a structural engineer, but many times when you are doing investigations or inspections, you come across many issues. So we have to look everything in an integrated way. You cannot isolate only the problems of structural engineering. So I've chosen this problem title of structural failures due to geotechnical problem. So my presentation, as told by the organizer, is of 1 hour duration. So to maintain that time, I'll be slightly running fast through my slide. And deliberately, I have avoided any formulas because civil engineers normally are scared of formulas. So I have not put any formulas. It's just so let us start the lecture. So now when you say failure, generally we should all understand that it is not is the inability of a component, structure, or a facility to perform its intended function. So the moment we say failure, it does not necessarily mean that it involves collapse or rupture. Even if the functional requirement is not met, it is called as a failure. So when you come to the civil engineering geotechnical, you can classify many failures, but I thought basically as a part of my lecture, I have classified due to ground shaking which is due to earthquake, shake structures constructed on the ground causing them to collapse, or liquefaction, which is conversion of formerly stable oceanless soil to a fluid mass, causing damage to the structures, or landslides, which is triggered by the vibrations, and returning structure failures, the damage of anchor walls, sheet piles, other retaining walls, and sea walls, and then settlement. So my lecture will be confined to these type of failures. So let us go to simple theories. We all know, but just to brush up some basic things. When we say ultimate limit states for stability, we have the equilibrium. So when there is a loss of static equilibrium, then you get a failure, or when there is uplift by water pressure, that is also leading to failure, or there is a hydraulic heave or erosion, which is again a thing which leads to failure. Then we have the strength, ultimate limit states of strength, the structural failures due to internal failure of the structure, cracks and all that. And then there is a failure of the ground, slipping of the cone and all that. So generally, these are the categories of failures that one encounters. So before we go into the actual failures, I would like to throw some light on some historic failures, because these have given an opportunity to learn from failures. These are lessons for all of us. Most of us are known, so I'll just repeat it for the sake of continuity, but these are very historic failures and they are very important for any engineer to know. The first one is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Most of you have heard about it, may not have seen it. But I advise, this is a very famous failure. This was in 1773 to present. It's a 200 feet, about 60 meters. To exact, is 56.7. And it's inclined right now at 5.5 degrees. So extensive efforts to determine cause and many efforts to correct. In fact, this particular problem itself has produced more than 100 PhDs worldwide. So the problem has created opportunity for many of us to investigate and think. So if you see, this is how it looks in the present form. A beautiful structure. So sometimes it's a great example that goes beyond the definition. The height is, I told you, 56.7 meters. Because of late feats, we are actually forgetting many of our young engineers. The foundation outer diameter is about 19.6 meters. Its weight is about 14,200 tons. You can imagine the amount of weight that is transferred to the ground. It was built over a span of about 200 years. The evidence tilt of the tower was first noticed during the initial phase of the construction itself, which began in 1173 AD. So this is how actually, if you, the detailed investigation has shown the soil profile. So there is a tilt because of certain changes in the sea level and the soil profile. So subsoil profile and soil properties, and all these investigations are made because as engineers, when something fails, we should not leave it like that, allow it to collapse, but we should go into details to find out what is happening, why it is happening, so that we can actually make it safe for the future structures. So this is how it looks in its full form. So this is one of the failure which is like a lucky failure, because normally failures, lead to many criticism, but this is one failure which has attracted tourists, and it has become a opportunity for the government to earn a lot of money. This is a lucky failure. Many of the failures are not so lucky, but this is a lucky failure. And you see a lot of tourists and come, and the photographers take. So this is a very busy spot, and it is worth visiting. But actually, the engineering says something that is a subsoil profile. And then we have the normal failures because of the earthquakes, how the ground is shaking. And this is another famous liquefaction ground failure because of earthquake. You see the amount of soil movement that has caused, because these are all historic. So many of you might have already seen it, but I still thought, for the sake of completeness of the lecture, I would like to show this. And so this is how there is a lateral spreading in the soil beneath the embankment, which causes the embankment to be pulled apart, producing large cracks down the center of the road. So, the cracks are as big, and sometimes the car can go inside. Sometimes suddenly, there's an earthquake, you're driving, you may go inside the ground. So you have to be careful, especially sorry. This is the famous Nagoya failure where the buildings have tilted. So you see several buildings have tilted. So this is another typical example of overturning of a building. Very recently, due to liquefaction of the foundation soil, during the Kocaeli earthquake in Turkey during August 17, 1999, which was magnitude 7.6. It's lucky, that this building has collapsed, but not touched the other buildings. Sometimes, especially in our cities, the buildings are kissing each other, and you can imagine the situation where one building falls on the other, and what will happen to somebody who is not even aware of what is happening. And this is a retaining wall, and you see how the liquefied soil exerts higher pressure on the retaining wall, which can cause them to tilt or slide. So much huge movement causing the buildings to move and all that. And sometimes we come across, where foundation is not aligned properly, and then you end up, these are all real pictures, not animated. You end up in a situation now, how to solve this, how to build them is a question. See, many times, I had the opportunity to visit the Channel Tunnel during its construction. So this Channel Tunnel, which is a tunnel under the sea from UK side and the Paris side, the different side they approach, but the alignment was so perfect that they met, not even a 10 mm difference in the alignment. So alignment is very, very important. And these are some of the punching failure of the foundation leading to collapse, and other lack of proper investigation leading to failure of many of the bridges. So very, very important. Every aspect of engineering is important. Now, this is an example of a sinkhole due to a groundwater table. So groundwater table is a very, very important thing. Many times, people, whether it's an engineer building or a non-engineer building, we should make them aware as engineers that, that these are not taken care. Then you end up with people who are actually, create a situation where the building collapses. I'll show you a next video, which actually is a in the recent cyclone, what happened? You can just see how it washed away. You can see the crack already coming in the building because of the water. And unfortunately, people are watching. In India, something happens, nobody tells excuse. They are watching the building and just see how it is going to fail. Building is intact. The foundation has just given way. Then you realize that nothing is there at all. So that is how we have to be prepared for all these. Don't build so close to the water table, and we should be aware of the water table fluctuation because that is one major cause of your failure. This is another historic failure which is being taught everywhere. It's a silo failure in the bearing capacity failure actually, where if you see the probable sliding surface, this is how it is, and this silo failure is because of inadequate bearing capacity. So this is a typical example of a bearing capacity failure. And of course, this is another famous failure in the China somewhere, where the building, has just collapsed. And when this is how it looks, you see, this is a tall building and then it is collapsed. The top fellow, if he wants to come out, simply has to jump out and come out, jump and come out. So that is the situation. You see, he is not aware. So this is how this was a typical building. Other buildings are safe, same design, everything. But this particular building collapsed. So properly investigations were carried out. And then when you close investigation, you found this is the foundation system, everything is fine. But then, so there are some reasons, which you have to be very, very careful. See, this is the collapse portion of the piles and other things. So here you see, this is the important part, the excavated material dumped here. So what really exactly happened in this particular failure? Let us see. So this is how it looks. It's a construction mistake, which has led to many times, our engineers are very perfect. They do a good job. I think this building is called as Sivaman Kuvalaheti. Is again a famous failure that is quoted everywhere. So let us see the failure pattern. See, this is how the arrangement of the foundation system is there. And here there was a canal that was excavated. So they excavated all this material and dumped here. So you are creating additional surcharge, and on that day heavy rain came. So this surcharge started exerting pressure on the piles, and finally this piles actually cracked here. And after that, immediately it broken and then it fallen. So that is how the failure has taken place. So some things, where we are not aware. So when you are inside, as engineers, we should tell them every aspect is important. Even the minute test of the mistakes will create a huge problem where we. So this is it teaches us many lessons, and this is also recorded in many textbooks now because it's a famous failure, and we should be careful that just not dump material anywhere and there. We have to take care of the engineering aspects of it. Site engineers. Now, normally, failures due to settlements could be, if you have a uniform settlement, there's no problem. No settlement, no problem. Uniform also, there's no problem. We don't like it, but and then differential settlement is the one which actually creates a headache for us. So, for example, if a typical building, if there's a uniform settlement, no issues. If there is a toppling, you see, this is how it is done. So oftenly you find that it's without cracks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But if there's a differential settlement, then you have cracks, and then you have roots getting in and animals and pets getting in, damaging. So this is a pictorial representation of how the settlement will cause damage to the drag down and heave. So normally, just to take, it's only for illustration purpose, because I am addressing audience where some of them are students. So I'm trying to go to the basics, because sometimes it's always better to revisit some of the basics, which will help many of us to refresh our knowledge. So building should always be kept sufficiently away from the steep slopes, otherwise you have many problems, and avoid putting them on filled up soils. If necessary, you go deep down where you get hard boil, or use a raft and all that. So this is the best way of, this is not desirable, this is another good thing, but don't ever do this where there's a possibility of, this is a small illustration, but if a huge building, what will happen, you can imagine. And then, settlement is something which is very, very critical. So settlement does not come immediately, it will come, you feel that you are compacted properly, but once there is a fluctuation in the water levels, in the weather, then the settlement of the underlying soil, typically due to inadequate compacted fill, is a common problem which is happening during construction. So compaction of the backfill material is also very, very important. And many times when we design, we assume something. So this is our assumption in the design. What happens, which you can imagine this for a bigger building, for a smaller building, you can, this for illustration purpose, how the damage due to seasonal drying is creating. So there is a shrinkage or swelling of the underlying soils resulting from moisture changes. So these moisture changes during summer, winter, rainy season will create movements in the building and then distress. And so you see, if your runoff around the building is not proper, then it may create failures. The shrinkage or swelling of the underlying soils resulting from moisture changes is something again. And then many times you find there are building damage due to trees, planted very close to the, we require environmental, today is a World Environment Day, and I say don't plant trees, then people will come back firing at me. But I'm saying plant trees, but away from the building so that the roots do not disturb the foundation. So this is a situation. And again, of course, when these damages occur, you can always do underpinning and other things, and then there is a proper way of doing it. But I show you a typical example of a tree disrupting the foundation. Here you see this tree has actually, the roots have totally gone inside the building. If I show you inside the building, it's very scary, so I'm not showing it. So these are some of the things to look for, from as a engineer in the site, or as an engineer from a holistic total point of view. Don't just ignore these small minor things which will cause damage. So trees adjacent to houses can cause potential damage for the foundation and house superstructure movement. Other thing, which where now these are some of the cases which I have dealt it as a consultant. Whenever there is a failure, they call me. So they call me a crack professor. So whenever there is a crack, they call me. So I go there. So this is a settlement of the floor. So this is how the floor has settled, and they don't know what happened. Now this is a huge rains. So luckily, this guy, the designer, has taken care that the foundation, the column is in the proper thing. It has not settled, but the filling of the pavement, the parking lot is clear, obvious movement of the thing. So this is how it is. Anyway, the building is safe. The moment something happens, immediately all the residents come out and come on the street and start shouting. So this is something which can be easily avoided had proper compaction been done. Again, these are some of the views, and myself inspecting and all that. Now, these are the type of soil always, creates many, and these are some of example of damages that has been caused due to expansive soil. You can find a lot in the textbooks. So then you have the Nanagram Kuda is another place in Hyderabad where is a failure. And this is a 4 or 5 story building, and I was asked to investigate. And when I found that they had a sump built with brick wall very close to that, and this sump always used to leak. The building was totally wet. And the more deeper you go, you realize, that there was a bore well which has gone to the foundation. And these are all engineer buildings, but the site engineer never visits, the designer never visits the site. And this is how the foundation was built. Because, this property, adjacent property belonged to somebody. So this is how our execution, and nobody bothered to visit. Finally, structures don't listen to, it will behave the way you construct it. And that is what happened. It collapsed, and these are all half columns, half things, and several people died. And many times, we need to make sure that we should tie the, and even in the foundation, because it's a typical example, illustration purpose. If you don't tie, what is going to happen? And if you tie, how stability. So increase the stability, always tie the stirrups till the column goes down, and then you can do it. Now, this is another famous collapse in Hyderabad. It's a retaining wall collapse at the minister's quarters in Hyderabad, which I was associated with the inspection. So normally we have seen how the retaining wall could collapse. One is by overturning, other is sliding, the third is by undermining. So in this case, we have the following 4 types of possible failures. These retaining walls, normally designed to relieve. So if you want to relieve the hydraulic pressure, you have to provide V poles and proper crushed graded aggregate, but nobody does it in the site. See, what is happening is what is there in theory and what is there in practice is a big gap. And we as engineers, we have to make sure that this gap should be bridged between theory and practice. So they say always, there's a saying in civil engineering sites, weep holes never weep. So we have to make sure that weep holes weep by properly grading them, and whenever there is because the purpose is to relieve the pressure. Otherwise, what will happen, you will see. Then the overturning and you have other mechanisms to prevent it. So then the waterproofing is also very important. Sometimes we ignore, like structures below the ground, subject to penetration of groundwater, will require waterproofing. And two basic approaches are there. Several technologies have come now, so I don't want to go there, but this is a simple way of doing it. Because every time we are now going cellars very deep, so that we require this retaining walls, but we need to also take care of the other side of it to prevent any failure. Proper drainage should be provided here so that there is no saturation and creating problems in the cellar portions. These are some of the materials that you have. So I'll just tell you the retaining wall failure. This is a failure where this area belonged to somebody, and they had a newly constructed building on the other side, which you can see. So when they are doing the parking lot, they dumped all the material on this side without realizing that this was originally a compound wall. It was not a retaining wall. And when the material excavated increased, so they increased the height with a normal wall. And you see what happened after when heavy rain comes, this wall collapsed suddenly, and all the water, all the material that was dumped came out. So there is no problem with this, but it failed. This wall failed, but you see the thickness of the wall, but still it failed. And then what happened? Poor laborers, because there was a wall, they got free. On three sides, they built houses. There were several huts adjoining this. And when this rain came, all this stone fell on these huts, residents, and many people died. So that is the thing which actually created a huge problem for these people, and many people died. So this is how the top view looks. So we have to be careful about how we are constructing. The site visits are very, very important at every stage, and just not do things very arbitrarily. This is, I was telling, the case study of the collapse of a retaining wall at minister's quarters. Minister quarters are supposed to be very important, and everybody takes care. A lot of visits have been done. So this is how the collapse portion was looking like. You can see the big crack, huge crack. Luckily, see, this is what I'm telling. Huts are built in the moment. There is a wall free of cost they get, so they build hut adjoining that, and and you can imagine what is the situation of the hut here, which is in the middle portion. Obviously, people die, creates a lot of controversies and all that, and this is what happened. So here the fault was with the designer, because he had used a shelf technology, and his assumptions were wrong. See, he thought that that the shelf will overturn, but there was a gap between the soil that is compacted. Compaction was not proper, and there was a gap between the shelf and that, and so this cantilever action came, and wherever the shelf was there was a huge crack that. So there was no chance of the weep holes were there, but they never weep. You can see the weep holes are shining. There is no indication of any water leaking. And all these come up only during huge rains and all that. And this is the closer view of things. Everything was filled, very good soil, everything is filled, but then failure occurred. You see, these are the weep holes in a small. Sometimes they are blocked and everything. But luckily, the one which was adjacent, the old one with this sort of arrangement, never failed, because water came, it seeped through that and went away smoothly. So the one which was built with RCC, it failed. And here we are after that we do a lot of forensic engineering, and myself here, I am here standing and watching, and then we gave some reports. See, everything is done as per systematic aspect, but the basic thing, they have not, the basic assumptions of design should be met in the site. Otherwise, your designs may create huge havoc. So these are some of the other views. And then we do a lot of investigation, inquiry. So this was a huge amount of filling. And what happened, unfortunately, they have taken care here, and here they built a wall, as a compound wall for the ministers. So this compound wall about 4 meters high. So all the water came and collected over this. So you had a 4-meter pond on this wall, and that had created additional surcharge and lateral thrust, and led to the failure. So many times, actually they had holes, but the residents below, every time the water used to fall on them, and they plugged it with some mechanism and prevented the water from seeping out. And this has led to the failure of the whole retaining wall. So this is again a assumptions, design assumption mistake and other thing. And then we do analysis, we do all the system. We have now softwares where we can do detailed analysis why it failed. But everything was the reinforcement, everything was perfect. But then the construction problem was there. This is another famous failure. It's called high-tech city failure. It's not a high-tech failure. High-tech city is a place in Hyderabad. So that's what you see. You can see here on this, there's a lump of soil actually fallen on this corner. And you will notice that, actually a lot of construction work was going on. There was excavation work and concreting work. So unfortunately, 3-4 laborers were buried it and died. And I show you the sequence of the failure, how it looks. So the video comes. So just see this corner, the corner on this portion. This is a portion that actually needs to be watched. This is which shows, you just see the corner, you see how the whole thing has collapsed, and this collapse has led to the failure of the whole people who are actually. So let us see how it actually happened. So this is how the collapse is looking. And then, once you go on, it looks like this. So on the top side, there is a road. So what they have dumped a huge amount of steel, huge weight, concrete, all the material was dumped on there. And immediately on the road, there was a horizontal crack. So this itself is an indication that there is a movement of soil, but nobody observed it. Nobody bothered to actually make a note of it and other things. And then you see, this is another example how they have taken care to prevent all the retaining walls. See, in the previous case, the soil is very good, but still it failed. So normally, when you're going very deep, you need to have proper measures, because the contractor is always interested in profit, he ignored some of the basic things, basic steps. So the engineer should insist on such things, otherwise, it may lead to failure and get a bad name to the whole engineering community. Now, this is another example of a situation where you have a this is a failure. Just observe the failure at this portion of the wall and how it led. Everything is there, the retaining wall is there, everything is there, but it has led to the failure. Just see the amount of damage and so what this shows, this example shows is that even if you do it properly, and they have to do it properly, and this particular failure has damaged the buildings on the above side also and led to many things. So you have many examples of such things, and landslide is another common thing. Of course, in here we don't have to worry, but in many other places we have a landslide. This is another example of a landslide. You don't imagine, but you can see the effect how the buildings have failed. So some of these cases are very scary, but this is how things are, and you can see how this landslide can actually create havoc to the buildings. So you have to be very careful the way you put it. You have to make a arrangement. So this is another failure which you don't anticipate, especially on hill roads, and how the failure. Then one more failure I wanted to show, and then these are you see it, but you see the impact of it. We have to be careful. I don't want to scare you further with any more videos, but okay, this is another example, where we try to create rock, break the rock, and then when you are breaking using explosives, you are creating unstable rocks after blasting. So this is one which is a very common problem. So we had one such system in the Durga temple in Vijayawada. With the rock, we had this sort of arrangement, and then what has to be done is you have to actually. Later, we tried to come out with a system with one of the consultants to do anchoring and stabilize with the help of a mesh. And today, this is how it looks, pre-stressing the cables and holding. Using some of the concepts in structural engineering, we have stabilized these rocks, and today it is very stable. This is how it looks. I don't know whether you had a chance to visit. These are also pre-stressed cables, and it's perfect. No, it has been done about 10 years back, and till today, in spite of several things, heavy rains and nothing has happened. So we need to think of innovative solutions to solve and make these things work. This is the hill where it goes to a temple, and imagine that being failure. And then basically we have to make sure that we take care of all the important things, and otherwise we lead to problems. This I think I have shown you. So the type of retention system that you design should decide how close you are building, what is the type of soil, what is the water table level, whether it is temporary or permanent, or what is the contractor preference. Because there is a cost which may not be included in the estimates, and many times cost is a key consideration. So here, this is a situation where you can use good materials for waterproofing and all that. This is coming in the market. If you have sufficient space, then you can do bench excavation. But normally in cities, it's not possible because already you are building so adjacent, very close to each other. But bench is so that you can prevent soil slipping and actually falling. And this is, or you can do some sort of a, but all this involves cost, and the contractor says this is not a part of his work. And if you don't do it, this building will fail and then fall and create many failures. So many times the retention system of the surrounding wall is very, very important. Several examples are there in city. I have just, for the sake of illustration, I have taken only one or two. And we have got luckily good techniques, available like soil nailing and all things where you can actually stabilize many of these things. Or recently, this concrete canvas has come where you can stabilize with these things. So technology is there for slow production, but these involves cost and many of them. So if this is included in the work cost, then obviously it will improve the safety at the structural sites. So this is how it looks, the slow production using a concrete canvas, and it is a good option. Otherwise, you can do the nailing. This is how it looks, the nailing. Then of course, again, the theory is there, the friction and all that, which is very interesting concept, and you can do it. And this has been done after that failure has occurred, and we find that it has stabilized many other things. Because if you ignore, always the properties are so close to each other that you go to, the more high rise you go, the more rental property you get. So you cannot stop them. Municipality also cannot stop them for various reasons. And then one is building 20 stories, the other builds 30 stories, and then all the additional problems will come and all that. So there are simple techniques, if you don't want to, you have sandbag, the conventional sandbag revetment technique where you actually support with the help of sand. But again, here what is important is how the way you actually start laying the sand. You cannot just lay in the way you want. It has to be done in a systematic way, and make sure that the friction is sufficient between back to back, so that this is a typical way of a sandbag wall illustrating soil pressure and back friction. And then you can have a geotextile filter layer, and then put the sandbag. So this will prevent many of the failures. So here, what is important for you to note is to see the orientation of the bags. In this, the bags are like this, and then you have horizontal, vertical, and other thing. So this is how it should be done, not in the same direction. So this the first one layer in one direction, the other layer in the transverse direction. So this will improve your revetment. Or you can go for conventional gabion type of walls, which is a very good option, and most of the bridges they do it, and it will survive. It is very safe and stable. Or simple reinforcement. All this costs, so people tend to avoid it. These are some of the examples which I thought I will share. And there are some other site-specific problems, which many of us have to be aware. Not just design the site and then go away. Because here, this is a typical case again in Hyderabad, where there is a metro station and where they have built a huge complex. So they went well below. This is in Panjagutta, and they had many boulders which are loosely placed on one another. You can imagine a situation, when there is a small shaking due to some sort of earthquake or some sort of a vibration. What is going to happen, and that the stones will roll. I'll show you the closer view of how the stones are looking. This is where the building is there, and these 1, 2, 3, 4 are the actual location of the stones. You see this how precariously displaced. So any small vibration can lead this stone to fall. This is the compound wall of this building, and if this huge mass falls on the building, you can imagine the fate of the building. And this is a busy metro station in Panjagutta, and it may cause damage. But luckily, then we had to take the geometry, do the center of gravity analysis and all that. And we found that it is quite stable. And of course, then we suggested some simple measures to make sure that this is how the rocks are there. They are on slope, and you can see the massiveness of the rocks. So these are also things which one should take into account. Not only your side, what is in and around your side is also equally very, very important. You want to make the structure safe in the long run, not just build yours and forget about it. Because in the coming future, what is going to happen, nobody can estimate. And that is it. So what we suggested, finally what they did, we don't know. So this is how it is, and so this is how the rocks are placed. A closer view, and there's a small mud and all that. So we asked them to grout all this with the proper epoxy. This one, and even the inclination is such a dangerous, so that center of gravity is shifted. Then we asked them to grout, and then later we tried to ask them to tie with a priestess strand, HG strand, all around it, and we connected this. We suggested that. Finally, what they did, we don't know. They never called us again. But right now it is stable because they have plugged it and locked everything with the epoxy, removed all the water through jet. But these things, we have to take into account even while construction, while design, the site, the type of soil, surroundings, and it's being done. But we don't do it on a regular basis, so we have to be very careful. And we also packed this with some concrete so that there is no possibility of slipping. So the structure is safe now. There are some other failures, which are very silly, which is not big, but the soil which supports the supporting system is not properly done, compacted, and then so this is a collapse of the portion of the steel floor of a RC slab in Karthikeyan Nagar. So you see, these are the support systems, and the way the support system is placed on the soil and on the slab is inclined, and any heavy load will tend to lead slippage of this. Recently, also there was a failure of the supporting system, so we cannot ignore it. This is also a small duty. You have to make sure that the base is properly resting, that there is sufficient bearing, and then there is a sufficient locking arrangement so that slipping does not take place. So this is we have to make sure that each scaffold and scaffold component must support without failure its own weight and at least 4 times the maximum internet load applied or transferred to it. But it is found that the supports are not properly designed for the many times we find and no proper bracing is found. So there should be some redundancy. One failure occurs. The support was placed on sloping ramp without taking care, which led to slip of the base. These are very silly reasons for a building to fail, and you see the net results. This is what happened immediately. And somebody is there, people die. And the transfer girders and all these things, and huge collapse have taken place. And this is the top view of the thing, how it looks. And it creates a bad image to the engineering community in general, and to the builder, and to the, many times, when there is a failure, the failure is an orphan, they say. So nobody takes responsibility. But these are things, the site engineer says, my design is all right. The design engineer says, the site engineer says, everything is okay, sir. You have also come and verify. But you have to be very careful and have a all-round view of the thing, integrated view of everything, and then we can avoid many such failures. And this damage has delayed the project by more than 5 years. And then it affects everybody, the residents, the owners, the purchasers. So we have to be very careful to avoid these type of failures. And this is how the closure looks, the massive things. So again, all these things are very distressing for an engineer. Once you conduct an inquiry, you find many hundreds and one problem. So this is another failure which I was connected. This is a famous club in Hyderabad. It's called a Film Nagar Club, where all the film stars come and have a nice dinner or whatever you want to call. So what happened here, the support, this is how, so somebody came up with the idea, why not have a portico? So there is nothing wrong in it. So they had a portico. But then again, so this was the arrangement of the structural beams and all that. But then the support systems, which was used to support this slab and all that, was all loosely connected and not done properly, not properly rested. And this led to the total failure of the thing. And unfortunately, failure may not be bad, but because of this failure, if it kills innocent persons, then it creates a lot of pain and a lot of trauma for the client as well as the owner, because police case is there, criminal case is there. So there is always a danger of these sort of problems that one come across. And then all the other things come out, that you find that later there's no proper lapping, this, that, all, whatever common mistakes we conduct in site, all will get exposed. And of course, nobody's perfect. This is how the situation is in site immediately after. Then we ask them to remove, and finally, but all this is not a good sign for an engineer, or at least for a bigger work, where many people, important people visit and all. So these are, you can see how the things, the support systems are damaged, slipped, then buckling. All these things happen, which we can easily avoid. And then this another collapse, it's called as Panjagutta collapse, which was done due to a basic problem of improper coordination between two various departments. Design was perfect, everything was perfect. The contractor was of very repute, the designer was also repute, but the site condition, what has happened is, these are huge segments which are to be supported on these supports, and everything is fine. But that day, what happened? Unfortunately, a huge rain came. This is the support system. You see here, you have a single pedestal, and somewhere you have two pedestals. So wherever the rule was, that the soil is bad, they go for double pedestal. Nothing wrong in it. But then what happened? Previous day, before to that, they had dug a huge because a pipeline was laid, so they did excavation, and these rectangles show the way the pedestals are being placed on the bridge. The bridge is coming from this side, and this line is the excavated portion of the canal which was done, and they laid the pipeline. And when they filled it, they didn't compact it properly. And when the contractors were doing it, they didn't observe the compaction properly, and they placed the half on the good soil and the other half on the bad soil. And this is how it is. And here you see there are two pedestals. Here one pedestal. Here one pedestal. Load is same, of course. And here only one pedestal. Here again two pedestals. So see what happened now. This is on the other side. So when you see the other side, because of heavy rain, this particular filled up soil which is excavated got settled, and the support system tilted, the pedestals tilted. With that, after the load was placed, and that also led to the shifting of the segments and then falling of the segments. For no fault of the engineer, for no fault of the designer, these things happened. So I'll show you the actual picture. So this is the pedestal system, the support system which tilted. The tilt was almost up to 37 degrees, and then you can see this is the Again, this is a geotechnical issue. You have to make sure that you are resting on a proper soil with a proper base. If you don't do that, then you lead to all the problems. So you have to make sure that even the temporary, the bridges, supports, and all that, everything has to be done properly. And this is the collapse thing. Trestles, how they have collapsed and bended. Unfortunately, heavy rain came and all the people were standing under the bridge to protect from the rain. And when it collapsed, one or two people died. So that was a very unfortunate part of it. And this is, you can see the soil, wet soil along the trench. And I'll show you, this is how the trench was built. This is separation. This is hard soil and this is the filled up soil. And you can see the pedestal half placed here and half placed here. And then, these are the showing no indication. Wherever soil was good, there's no indication of settlement, other thing. But wherever there was a filled up, yes, there is a. But while placing the pedestal, they did not bother to check whether the soil is proper or not. They just placed it like that. And you can see the extent of tilt. Here it's less, but here fully tilted, and then the whole thing fell on one side and it failed, in fact. And this is the separation, erosion of the soil in the trench. And then, all these nuisances will be there. You try to check out, you try to do investigation. So these are the headaches that come out with it. But had they taken care of the proper compaction and provided a proper base, in case of doubt, they could have avoided all these things. So this is how it looks afterwards, And I can show you some examples of. This is a place where double pedestal placed, nothing happened. But where there was single pedestal placed on the trench, it collapsed immediately. And this is how the site looks. These are intact concrete bases, no problem. But this is how the tilting of the trestles have led to the collapse of the segment. And you can imagine, anybody this much heavy weight falling on a car waiting under it during heavy traffic time. It happened during 6 or 7 p.m. It collapsed. And then once things collapse, all the TV channels get very active. They start telling their own stories, quality, this, that. But everything was perfect. But this simple error of coordination between the excavation department of the water works and then the GHMC, everything is going on in front of them, but they didn't come back. So we have to be alert and agile. Otherwise, you lead to situations. This is how it looks, showing the tilted base even before. So these are very sorry things, and this is how it looks. Anyway, later now it is all okay, and it's a wonderful project. Sometimes, we build structures which are, I don't know, these are all unengineered. See, we should not allow these things. The municipality should be allowed. Because what happens, I call this as living towers of Hyderabad, because they are living on each other. But they are creating huge problems. Something happens, small shaking, this will collapse, and so many residents die. And this is a typical example. If you want a high building, go for proper designing and all that. And this is another in Malakpet. I call it Burj Malakpet to compare with Burj Dubai. This fellow has built some 10-story structures in a small piece of land of less than 10 feet by 10 feet. I don't know where he has provided the staircase and how he is reaching the top. But these are the type of structures which should be strictly banned, whether it is engineered or non-engineered. Because any failure of this will cause huge life in the surroundings, and it will get a bad name to the engineer. Any collapse will get a bad name to the engineers. So what we have to do in my lecture, deliberately I have kept it very simple, because because I am a professor, I assume that many students will participate. So we should learn from the past, we should learn from our mistakes, and everything is important. And I would end with because I have some time for questions and answers, so I deliberately ended at 11:55, because organizers are giving me time 12, so I have to do it. So to engineer is human, to err is human, but to err as an engineer can be dangerous. So therefore, we have to make sure that we are very much aware of the simple things at site, and make sure that our structures are safe and secure from all angles. So normally in the ancient days, the laws were very strict. Today, if there's something fails, there's an inquiry, nothing happens. But at that time, the Hammurabi was the ruler of Babylon. He says, if a builder builds a house and kills its owner or somebody, then that builder should be put to death. So that was a strict, and everybody was very careful in every aspect. But today, we've got so many disciplines. One is not knowing what the right hand is doing, the left hand doesn't know. Like that. So there is a coordination is very, very important among engineers. That is what is very, very important. So, what I would like to end my lecture is, no matter how many times you have done a job before, be sure to think the whole thing before you start. So everything should be again revisited, checked at side, and then allowed to. That is a message I especially want to give to youngsters. I know that there are very senior people who are actually participating. So for them, this may look very simple, but my target audience was my students and other people who are interested in practice or entering into practice for the benefit of them. So we all should understand that whatever we do, like a beautiful building, should remain beautiful for a long time. So that should be our objective. So now I think I will take some questions. So thank you very much. And thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, although it was very simple, but it was very profound. The presentation which was there, I think, as you rightly point out, the design would be perfect, the material would be perfect, the everything would be perfect, but then it collapses. So we need to look at the surrounding sites as well as our own site itself. That is why sometimes location does matter, and as a civil engineer, we should pay attention to that. And even the phrasings and form work which you had mentioned is really very interesting, because sometimes due to that also, a lot of failures occur. Settlement, uneven settlement is a common reason, and many of them do not actually find out the actual reason. They'll go into the details of the concrete materials, or say, for example, design and all that. So that was a very good presentation with a lot of case studies, in fact, because that is what keeps the audience glued to the presentation. So thank you so much for that, sir. So can we take some questions, sir? One of the questions which has been asked is, what we need to do when borewell is there near the foundation?
Okay, borewell diameters are very small compared to the foundation. But generally try to see that you don't put a borewell. If borewell is coming first or foundation is coming first, you have to decide. You have to make sure that that borewell is closed and packed, and then you shift the borewell side. That is the best way of doing it. Don't put it on a borewell or because it's not a good idea.
Mr. Datta has asked, what are the visual symptoms that one can predict for development of failure plane?
See, today a lot of technology is there, non-distributed testing are there, but visual inspection is the simplest way. You can see observance of cracks or observance of some sort of a settlement, which I can detect. That is sufficient. So you should be also making sure that you not only build it, you should build it, also maintain it properly. If you don't maintain it properly, then it may lead to failures which are actually very, very dangerous. I'm sure the magnitude of the failures are and the reasons are very simple. The reasons are very simple and silly, We never expect that the building will fail for this. But then the magnitude of failure is very high. So therefore, visual inspection will tell you, yes, signs of inspection, cracks, small cracks, whether it's a shrinkage crack or not. So there is a separate lecture on the type of cracks and how you distinguish. That I'll give somewhere else or sometime else. But I wanted to make sure that, that it should be very simple. But visual signs is the first thing. Go to a site, and 80% of your problem you can identify by visual inspection. And then the remaining 20% you can do. A lot of non-distributed test equipments have come today. I can predict how much reinforcement is there, what is the diameter of there, all these.
Very important, sir. Because visual inspection does play a very vital role, and it
80% of the problem we can find out.
Another question is there from Mr. Prabhan. I am from Dharmavaram. Since 5 years, the water table has raised appreciably, and laying foundation is a problem. And we can't dewater also. Kindly suggest a solution.
There are many solutions, and actually, you need to reduce the bearing capacity, and you have other things. So geotechnical engineers, technically will come out many solutions. In fact, there are many more solutions depending on the type of structure, whether it's single story, double story. So there are structures which are built on water. Make sure the foundation is resting on hard strata, or some transfer the load to a strata where it is stable. So there are piles and all that. It's not that just because water you cannot build a house. It is possible.
Another question is, what are the precautionary measures to overcome the cracks for compound wall length of 50 meters?
See, luckily for us, everything is, coded well. We have codes of practice, and to prevent cracks in the compound wall, we have to make sure that the wall base is supported properly on proper foundation on good soil. And then sometimes, they put pillars, and then the expansion joint in the column compound wall is all very, very important. You have to make sure that.
Although you have covered this in your presentation, Mr. Ram Venkatesh again wants to know how to take maximum care of surrounding structures which may be very near to the proposed structure.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you don't go very deep below, because I've just, for the sake of illustration, I've taken only one case. But I can tell you, in my career as a professor of civil engineering at Hyderabad, I visited more than 50 such cases. I don't want to take those names because the moment I take the names, the builders will get angry and they will sue me. So I took it as a policy. This is only for education purposes. This is to create awareness among the young engineers. So you have to make sure that the wall is retained properly. There are many alternatives. You can do bench excavation, or you retain with sandbags. If you don't want to spend more, or you've got special technologies. The concrete canvas is one thing. Then you got stiffened panel walls and all that. So technology is there. People don't use it. So what we want to tell is, you should be aware of it. You should practice properly. You should execute properly, and everything is important. You cannot just leave as it is. Yeah.
Another question is asked, 1200 mm dia well is located very near to corner footing. What precautions we have to take? Well depth is 25 feet, depth of footing is 8 feet.
Make sure that your footing is transferring the load to the strong base and doesn't have any footing load is transferred to a hard stratum. So if it is vulnerable is slightly away or is in the footing, don't put your footing on the bore. Keep it away. You can have slightly eccentric footing also. You can design it properly. There is no problem.
Could you tell how overturning movement is caused and reason for it and preventive measures?
See, basically, overturning movement is caused by lateral pressures. See, lateral pressures can be due to earthquake, due to water, due to soil, and that's how the retaining walls are there. And these are very common things. And the contractor, especially, wants to ignore this because it will add to his cost and make his profit less. But they are all engineered structures, and they have to be engineered, designed properly. And today, if you can make proper arrangement with proper drainage, you can have a huge deep excavation also. And especially cities, there is a shortage of space. So you are going, I don't know how COVID is going to change the way the infrastructure is made. You go cellar 3, 4, 5. So you go for deep excavation. So it's not only your own structure, you have to also see the adjacent structure, the precautionary measures you need to take. In fact, I had to go to court several cases where, the neighbor had gone to court with the builder saying that our own government buildings, they were going very deep for the MLA quarters and all that. And the adjacent people went to the court saying that the construction should be stopped. We need not stop the construction, but we can take preventive measures, retain earth. The technologies are available. Today, luckily, we have got very good software for analysis. We've got very good technologies for implementation. Everything should be done in a systematic and orderly manner. And a lot of don't do unengineering things. Don't use your, of course, many times, as a quick solution, you do that temporary. But consult an engineer, that is what I'm telling you. If you don't consult an engineer, do it yourself, then you may land into problem. You not only land into problem, you're also creating problems for other innocent persons, who are ignorant of these things, and you may kill them. But many of the cases which I showed, people died. And that is the sad part of it. And it gives a very bad name to the whole engineering community. So my canvassing of any lecture is to make sure that we should be aware of the simplest of the simple things. Don't do simple mistakes. Be aware, do it properly. That's what.
The last 2 questions more. If differential settlement occurs and building is still standing, then which measure needs to take care for building? Differential settlement has occurred and the building is still standing. I think there's a bandwidth problem. I think differential settlement, if it has occurred after this thing, we need to look at the building and then have a kind of proper study. I think that is one thing that can be advised. So now that we have lost contact with the speaker, many of the questions that has been asked, we will take a note of it, and probably we will send it by mail and find out. Are these failures happening because we do not understand the soil particle interaction net, and hence the predicting modeling becomes difficult? Yes, I think understanding soil is very important, because without that you may not be able to design an effective foundation. So I think a couple of most of the questions have been answered. Okay, one there is one. It's okay, sir. Like one comment from Dr. I. Satyanarayana Raju. It was a wonderful technical presentation on failure of civil structures due to foundation failures by Dr. Ramana Rao, Director, NIT Warangal. Participants are richly benefited by his talk, and budding engineers will be highly motivated. So he has actually complimented our presentation.
Thank you. He's my friend, so that's why he has come.
Thanks and regards to organizers. So he's the former chief.
Actually, there could be several questions. What I would suggest,
Yes, sir.
probably you can, Anil, you can, I've shared my mail in my presentation, and it's also, they can write to that or they can call me, you know, because each one, you see, unfortunately and unfortunately, each site is a special site. No site, you don't have a single code for all sites. So site visit is very important. Each problem is unique in its, and that is the beauty of civil engineering and geotechnical engineering. Each is unique in its own way. I can actually go on hours together, you know. But since you have put me in a 1 hour bar, I should respect the time of other eminent engineers who are there. So I deliberately tried to rush through and also make sure that I meet your time requirements.
So I think most of the questions, if there are anything, we will send you by email and probably get the answers to that. So thank you so much, sir. It was a very wonderful presentation. And you had the one message which we could take away from this is that we should go for an integrated and holistic approach rather than, you know, looking at compartmentalizing things. And because what is important is the safety. And you have touched upon that most important point, safety of the occupants, safety of the building, which is very important. So with those few words, let me thank you, sir, for having given your valuable time and spoken to the construction professionals.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time and the efforts that you have put in to give this presentation. And we thank all the construction professionals who have logged in and listened to us. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you. I see more than 500 participants in this.
And there is FB Live also. So there are some who have actually logged into the Facebook as well.
Just send me the feedback for you, my own satisfaction. Thank you very much. Thank you all. I'll take leave.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.